If you want to crush your AP Calculus exam like a true ninja, you're going to want to stick around because I'm going to cover a couple of mistakes you definitely don't want to make. For this first integral here, many of you already know the shortcut, but for some who don't, here's the problem. When you see this, you see the highest order power of x is 1 on both the numerator and denominator. And because of that, if you blindly then assume you have to use a complicated method like long division, you've already lost because you are timed and you don't want to spend too much time on a problem like this. A lot of the AP exam problems are designed for you to recognize shortcuts so that way you don't run out of time. Now, there is a video you can check out above where I do solve this with the quicker way, and if you need a nudge in that direction, here's a hint to you. There is nothing wrong with saying x plus 1 on the top is the same as x plus 2 minus 1. Hopefully that gives you enough of a hint where you can solve this and you can tell me your answer below. Now moving on to the second hint. Say you're pulling out a sample problem from the AP Barron's guide, or you're just trying problems from your homework. You know, that's not enough because if you just rely on what's given to you or just a quick study guide, you need to get to a point where it's like breathing when you see these problems come up on the exam. Because I would challenge you to do extra problems every day beyond what is normally assigned to you. Do 10 extra problems, 20 extra problems. Because while this looks like a simple polynomial integral, the problem here is the following. When I rewrite the integral so that the power is x to the negative 2, it's more clear now, right, that we just simply integrate this like a typical polynomial, giving you negative x all raised to the negative first. But then when we evaluate this definite integral from 0 to pi, check this out. What happens when you plug in the lower limit of integration? You're actually dividing by 0. So if you just go off the sample problems you've done and you just assume that it's going to be a similar answer, well, this one's different because the answer actually diverges. You can't divide by 0, right? So make sure to keep doing extra problems where this will become more of like a reflex memory for you. And then finally, before I cover this last one, if you haven't already and you're finding value in my videos and want even more tips, be sure to ninja kick that subscribe button so that you don't miss my future videos. So for this problem here, it looks complicated where if I were to ask you to find the derivative, the chain rule here gets really messy, right? And so if you're spending 20, 30 minutes on a problem like this and you're just not getting really good headway into what the answer is, remember that usually, unless it's called out on your AP exam, problems are all worth the same. So what I would recommend you do is if you get stuck on a problem like this, write down the problem number on your notepad and also write down the methods you've tried. That way, when you come back to it, you're not starting all over, right? You have an idea of what works and what doesn't work. Now, for this one, it kind of relates to the first problem I showed you where there's a long way of doing it. And then there's a way that saves you a bit of time. And to give you a hint, you can use a cool U substitution with this one to make the chain rule application easier. Go ahead and try it and leave a comment below and tell me what answer you come up with.